Hello, welcome to Python OP Lesson 3. I recommend you to watch the previous lessons. This will help you become more familiar with the topics I will discuss next. So, you see the class car, it has one class attribute and three instance attributes. Also, you can see the init method which takes care of these instance attributes. Let's code more methods for our class car. There are three types of methods that we can define in our class: class methods, static methods, and regular instance methods. The difference between them is how they use or not instance properties or class properties. After this short lesson you will nail them and they will never confuse you anymore. Look at our init function. As I told you in previous lessons, self parameter always refers to our instance object, and you may guess that it is an instance method. Instance methods are the most common. You don't need to mark them in any way. Their first parameter is always instance. Let's make one more instance method. You can see method storyteller. Unlike init method, it does not have those double underscore, which are often called dunder, short for double under. Init had them because init is a special method. There are lots of special methods in Python and they are intended to have standard behavior, so any other programmer and Python interpreter will know exactly what it does and if it returns something, what kind of data it returns. Our storyteller method is not special, so I can return anything or nothing at all implementing it. What I need to remember is that if I want it to be an instance method, I have to give it self parameter for instance, and then I can give it as many parameters as I want, which I will have to pass in the parentheses. I also gave it short parameter, which is optional because it has default value false. It means that we can pass it true as parameter, otherwise it will consider it as false. Then we have an if condition, which checks if short is true. If we pass any data which is considered true in Python, code will run this way. Otherwise, it will go with its default else condition. In the short condition, code will print us f-string, where it takes two properties of our instance and one of our class. If our code runs this way, it will print us f-string with more text involved. If you will look at the entire storyteller body, you can see that we use all instance and class properties, and all we need to do is to pass self parameter, and then magic dot unlocks all the properties we need in the method body. We can use any number of additional parameters if we need them, and we can return something if we want. Okay, this was common or regular or instance method. We don't mark it, it's default. Now let's look at static method example. I defined the method fuel consumption and it takes two parameters. First parameter is some car's fuel consumption and distance to go. Our method has to calculate the fuel consumption for a whole trip. We don't want to pass to it our instance because it does not have any data involved in this formula, but we want this method to stay in our class car as it is related to it. Now let's test our methods. First we need instance, and here we have one called very explicitly. Now let's run our method storyteller using instance and run. We see it printed us long string. Now if we will pass it any data like 1, 2, non-empty string or list, or explicitly true, it will run short string. What if we will try to run our instance method from our class? You probably sense the upcoming error, but I want to inspect it. Run again. Python interpreter says int object has no attribute name. As we run storyteller from class, Python cannot provide instance object because there is no one, and then Python consider this is the first argument, which is indeed integer, and not an instance, so it doesn't have the attribute name. So let's cancel our changes. And done. So conclusion is that instance methods are for instances only. Let's test the fuel consumption method. I need to uncomment this and comment this. So we run fuel consumption like regular function, give it consumption and distance parameters, and attach result to a variable fuel for trip. And now let's print out our result. We can clearly see the result, and now let's try to repeat our test, but this time we will run this method from instance. Car fuel consumption takes 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. Instance automatically gave Python itself like self-attribute, so method got 3 parameters instead of 2. It seems like Python didn't have any idea that we wrote a static method, and all we need to do is to make a wrapper static method. Now our code works perfectly, as Python does not provide any instance object or class itself to run this function, and behavior of the static method is very alike regular function. The only reason it is a part of class is because I, as a programmer, wanted to keep these methods together, and when someone imports my class, he or she has full access to all my methods and variables. So, it is all for part 1. In the next part, we will explore class methods and make conclusions on methods overall. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, and if you have more questions about methods, feel free to ask them in the comments. And I hope you know what to do if you like this video. Have a nice life!